No, my wife's family has a cabin up there for a long time. Her great grandfather built it.
And Steve said he did too.
So it's up on close to Patterson. Didn't this year, cabin bath. Most of them sit on the water, where you enjoy the weather. Doesn't have air conditioning, so that was a rough one, it's about 95. But the rest of the days, I was inside, so it was doable. Sure.
And that way, and then I tried,
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
pulled up, and then I came direction, and it really, but yeah.
Hey Troy, how you doing?
So I was already there, and then I hit all that, but I
I forgot to put the minutes.
What's that? Just
I forgot to put the minutes. I just got thought about.
I'm reading them right now. Look at you.
Yeah, if you guys have all read them, you can approve them, then I'll just leave them with Heather.
I'm finishing right now. Did Josh do it?
I don't see
I didn't think
him.
to tell him that.
And we're not doing anything with these kids, right? The sealed bids for the
No,
cars.
not right now, because I don't know which ones they took out, so we figured out exactly which ones they removed.
Okay.
I think the minutes look fine.
Oh, my.
I guess we're ready. Welcome, everyone, to Wednesday, July 9th Commissioners Meeting. If you'll stand and join me in the pledge and a short prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father, bless our country. Be with those in Texas suffering through this tragic loss. Be with us as we conduct county business. In your heavenly precious name we pray. Amen. Have the commissioners had an opportunity to review the minutes of the previous meeting? And if so, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Have the commissioners had an opportunity to review the claims? And if so, do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Have the commissioners had an opportunity to review the payroll? And if so, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. We have a monthly clerk's report. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries 3-0. Don't see anybody from EDC, huh, in the chamber.
And did anybody tell Josh the meeting was moving?
I did not tell Josh, so he may not be here.
I'll just text him and could still come at the end of the meeting.
Yes. Next up, we have the Health Department. I was gonna say, I don't see she. I know. Well, if she shows up, we'll go back to that. Coroner's office. Highway Department. Okay. Surveyor's office. Planning, well, this is gonna go quick. Sheriff's Department. Auditor's office. Clerks. Memorial Park, on it, this is gonna go quick. Assessor, recorder. Weights and measures. 911. You got anything, Brian?
No.
You just don't want to talk so we can.
Keep going.
Keep going. EMS. Treasurer's office, building inspector I just talked to. EMA, Troy.
No, thank you.
Probation. Community corrections. Angie.
Sorry, guys.
We were on a roll and Angie had to mess it up, gosh.
Is that my speaker?
That's a microphone.
My microphone, okay. So I was gonna approach you guys about upgrading my GIS licensing in 2026. It's called ArcGIS Enterprise, and it's kind of the backbone almost all counties are using now for their GIS. So I think Debbie went ahead and preliminary put it on the 2026 budget, but I think I have to get approval from the commissioners before I do it. So ArcGIS Enterprise, the reason I want to do it now is Esri's changing their entire like licensing structure. Right now, we're based on like a per computer, like single use. They're going to change it to like a role based. So it's not going to be per computer. It's more online and it's per role. Like, so I have like an analysis role. The girls in the assessor's office will have a viewer role, and it's all like a sliding scale price based. So if we're going to do an upgrade, like this is the year to do it when they're changing all the roles also. An enterprise will allow us to do a lot more of the online mapping. So see other counties and they're having a lot of more interactive maps. Not that the highway wants to do it, but more like user input, like you see the pothole maps or public can go in, like there's a huge pothole here, we'll mark it and it goes directly to the highway. Environmental health, like they're out doing field mapping. And right now when Shaylee goes out and she's doing like the septic maps, she has to use a phone. She puts it on her phone, it updates to ArcGIS Online. I have to grab like her every week, all the updates she made, and then I have to transfer it to a file geodatabase. And then I have to transfer it again and append it to our main geodatabase that goes out on Beacon. So any type of field mapping or online mapping right now is like a 3-step process. This streamlines it. Like we have one database, any field users just go in and check out what they want to use. They update it, they check it back in, and it's immediate. It's immediately updated on Beacon. It's immediately updated on our server. So it's going to streamline a lot of stuff that we do in the county and make it easier for them and also me. It's also it's very secure. So we will be going outside of our firewall because people can access copies of some of the data, but it's a secure content system. It's gonna not make a whole lot of changes how people see like data and Beacon and stuff. It's all gonna be kind of internal in the backbone that people won't see except for me and the other people actually updating the data. And it's also, it comes with built-in solutions. There's a lot of solutions, things like permitting. Like, so right now when we do a building permit or we do a septic permit, it goes through multiple different offices. This allows for like one digital permit that we can sign off on as it goes to the digital offices, and we can do whatever mapping we need. So hopefully it's going to streamline and make things a lot easier. It's also going to allow users in different departments to kind of maybe take control of some of their own data. So right now I do all the mapping for every single department. But if say Tom wants to go through and maybe do some analysis or create some of his own data sets, or the girls in the assessor's office, this is going to allow them to have the tools they need to maybe kind of manage some of their own data down the road if they want to. The cost is kind of the only thing that I'm a little worried about. So right now, annually, we pay about $8,000 a year for our maintenance agreement with Esri. To install Enterprise, it's going to be like a one-time fee of, let's say, $21,240. So, and that will get us all the software we need. It is kind of a complicated install because we're dealing with firewalls and permissions and servers. So Esri gave me a price of around 18,000 to come in for 3 days and help Jeff and I get it completely set up. But they also told me that they're more expensive than anyone else. And if I go through a local Esri partner, it's going to cost a lot less. So I'm working on quotes with some local vendors that could come in a lot cheaper than the 18,000 and help us get it installed. And then after that first year, kind of the big price chunk, we're going to be paying about the same every year as we are now, about $8,000. Enterprise is $6,200 a year. The actual user licenses that we're paying $8,000 a year now, because of the restructuring, we're only going to be paying about $2,500. So annually, it's going to be about what we're paying now. It's just that 1 year, we're looking at 30 to 40,000 to get it completely installed and up and running. And like I said, we're going to need a server. And I know Jeff's been kind of doing some of Jeff's magic and looking around and trying to find a server for me, possibly like maybe through the recorder's office. Once I have a server, I take up a lot of room, like my GIS data. I have a lot of storage. I'll be able to take all of that data, put it on the server, and it's going to free up a lot of space on the county servers that then we can allocate to other departments. So, but like I said, I think I just need permission to go ahead and start the process. And then I'll have to get a council to get the money approved.
Not gonna make payments out of your salary.
Yeah, no. I mean, it would take me like a decade. I'm sure it's fine. So, do you guys have any questions? And I have all kinds of documentation. I have all the quotes and all that stuff I can send you if you want it. So,
So you're asking for permission?
For permission.
Council approval. of budget.
yes, yes.
I would do it.
Motion, do I have a second? Second. Motion's been made and seconded, without any papers out of the pocket.
Yeah. I'm not gonna throw that because I'll miss and hit somebody.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
You got Josh and Penny.
Huh?
I'll go get them
Okay.
speaker.
It picks up. Oh, Lord, you don't want to pick up mine.
Well, Josh Eshel just came in. Josh, do you want to give us an update? Sure. Just got it on.
Sorry. I apparently didn't get the update that you were meeting here. Yeah, when I showed up at 10 till and nobody was in there, I was like, either they canceled the meeting or I'm in the wrong place. So I'm guessing the wrong place because of the construction. So, no, you're good. All right, 2 things. We did finish the, June 1 was the contract date for, the health plan. So we have the final data for that 12-month period. And, we finished $750,000 below expected claims for the 12 months. So, really, the last month sometimes is a little bit higher because you have some pending claims and other things, but it was a higher gross month, but we had a couple large claims that got paid by stop loss. So, I mean, really, really good story, like another really good year. So, that continues to perform the way that we want it to perform, on the things that we're doing there. So any questions on that at this point? Okay. Quick recap. So as you remember, a couple years ago, we ended up, when we got canceled midterm by Travelers, we ended up kind of splitting up the property and casualty renewals. So, you know, the auto, law enforcement, professional, all that we renewed in March was good. The property, inland marine, which is all the equipment, the crime and the workers' comp stayed on that July 15th timeframe. So we have those renewals. I would say overall, they're a good story. I think, there's a couple things that I would say are negatives that honestly, Travelers was probably the last holdout to do this when other carriers were doing it 2 or 3 years ago. And that major one is, putting $150,000 wind hail deductible on the property. So it is $150,000 per occurrence, which Travelers is still well below market on that. We went to Chubb and several other carriers that would write monoline property. Chubb was about the same price. They have $100,000 per location wind hail deductible. That's really what we're seeing most in the school and municipal market. I probably all the schools in Henry County have $100,000 per location wind hail deductible now. So, you know, not ideal when the courthouse and the Justice Center and the Health Department building are right there together. I mean, that would be a $300,000 deductible for wind hail if that got hit. So I don't think that was viable compared to the 150. So if on the 150, I mean, if the park got hit and 4 or 5 other locations got hit in a storm, it's the one-time deductible versus a per location. So I did send to you guys, there are carriers out there, primarily Lloyd's of London, that'll do wind buy down quotes. And we have done that with several of our schools and municipalities. I just need roof updates on that. If we can get those, I can come back to you and, you know, in some cases it's made sense. Like one of our schools, it was about $20,000 a year, but we bought down like 800,000 of wind coverage because they had 100,000 per location. So, you know, it's a lot easier when it's a per occurrence. We would just go buy like $100,000 or $125,000 policy, hopefully for, you know, say $10,000 or something like that. If you guys thought it was good value, we could potentially buy that down. Otherwise, really no changes in material changes in coverage. We did bump the property limits 5% plus during the year. Last year, we added the $3 million Hall of Fame expansion to the statement of values. So we're about $8 million more property coverage than we had. We're looking at a 10% rate increase on the property. So that's, I would say, probably still below average. The crime is flat, so that price did not change at all. The inland marine total was up from like $8,300 to $9,000, so like $700 change there. The cyber is flat, no change there. And then the professional, I failed to mention the professional liability, the medical malpractice, which covers the health department, the jail, EMT, you know, anything we're doing health wise, that also was flat. That piece was flat, didn't go up. The workers' comp is the biggest chunk of this. It was $287,000 last year. Our state assigned experience mod was a 1.70, which is high. Unfortunately, it went to a 1.99 for the renewal. So quick refresher, the state does a 3-year calculation in your class code. So for our specific industry, and they look at payroll versus claims, and it's a more complex formula. There's weighting for different types of claims, larger lost time. But anyway, a 1.0, that number by law has to be multiplied by your starting work comp premium with every carrier. So you are assigned that multiplier. So a 1.0 means you're exactly in the middle. You're the median for losses on your account for your size payroll. So a 1.70 means we're obviously 70% worse than the average, but it also means if our premium is 100,000 to start, it goes to 170 by law. Now, we've had years where we're a 0.70 and that goes the other way. So we start at 100, we're automatically starting at 70 by the law. So good news, bad news. I mean, bad news is we were looking at a 29% change in pricing because of the mod, but West Bend took they took the rates down like 27% to offset almost all of that. Yeah. So that is a really, really positive thing. We did get with Debbie though, and our projected payroll for next year compared to what we had on the policy this year was up about 20%. And so, we raised those payrolls 20% to try to get that more in line, so we don't have a big audit. So with the mod change, the additional rate reduction that they put on there, we got to basically a flat rate, but we're looking at 18% change because of the 20% increase in payroll. So really all exposure, thanks to West Bend. The good news is we'll pick, so the experience mod, because of lag with workers' comp claims and getting them closed, the prior immediate year is not on the mod. So the year we're ending July 15th of this year is not in that mod calculation. It's the 3 years before. We had a relatively really good year this year. I mean, we got, 7 days left or whatever we have, but only about 125,000 of claims against 287,000 in premium. So we'll be dropping off a really bad year from 4 years ago and picking up a good year. So my expectation will be that mod comes back way down next year. And hopefully if we continue to have good years, then we'll get that back down to, there were a lot of years where we had 0.75, 0.8, and you're talking about, 6-figure swings in work comp premium if we can, that controllable mod. So yeah, that ended at 18% overall pricing change, which was 287 to 340 in total with the payroll adjustments, basically at the same net rates after the experience mod and then West Bend's rate adjustment on that. So I'll send you these numbers just so you have the exact numbers on this proposal and you can see that breakdown there. But overall, we're talking about probably 7-8% rate change and probably 14-15 total premium change from last year on these lines of coverage with those with the exposure changes, which amounts to maybe $85,000 roughly increase in total for the premium. We can add that wind hail anytime. So, I mean, it renews July 15th. If we don't do it by then, we'll have the $150,000 wind deductible on July 15th. But if we add it August 1st, once we get that, we can add the buy down anytime if we want to do that. And if you have a best guess, I mean, it doesn't have to be exactly, I mean, really what they're wanting to see is that we don't have an 85-year-old roof that's fallen off, that they're gonna, buy a wind claim on. Yeah, I mean, best guess from the maintenance guys, if that works, that's fine. Okay, all right. And honestly, if there's an older roof that's like a metal roof or a tile roof that's in good shape, we can note that when we send it in. Like we've got schools that have transportation buildings that are metal roofs and, they're 40 years old, but they're in really good shape still. Like that's a discussion that we can have with underwriting. Let's just note that if we have those situations, we can, it's not a hard and fast. If it's not this age, then we can't do it. So. The only two things I need, I think you guys have reviewed this, but I just need a signature on the statement of values, which lists all the buildings and structures that we're covering in that blanket, which is 140 million, by the way. everything blanketed. And then I just need a signature on the cyber application for the file, which I don't need it today. You guys can, if you want to make copies and scan it to me, that's fine. I don't need originals. And, you know, I mean, hopefully, one thing that limits us right now is, you know, there's, all the carriers are pretty much doing, well, like, we have a county south of Indiana. We're in a really surprisingly favorable wind hail zone for travelers, because some carriers we're not. Each of the carriers have their own wind hail maps. But there's a county to the south of us that we work with, and they happen to, with travelers, be in a 1% wind hail. So if you think about 140 million of property values, they had to go to a 1% wind hail. So you can do the math on that. It's per location, sorry, 1% per location wind hail. So we'll look at the buy down, but it's still, this deductible is probably below. You know, we could spend 30 minutes talking about why, but you know, the gist of it is that, you know, these carriers buy reinsurance. So, you know, they're taking on a particular dollar amount per claim, per storm, per event. And the property market has been so bad that those reinsurers, say, used to attach at 50 million per event, now are going to Travelers Liberty and saying, we'll attach, but you're taking on the first 150 million of a loss instead of 50. So you start looking at schools, municipalities that just by nature have property concentration, where you got a lot of property in a very small radius. One storm comes through. Travelers used to have 50 million of exposure. Now they got 150 million of exposure on our policy. So that's why we're seeing in the market on these bigger property schedules, we're seeing wind hail deductibles universally. But the buy down is the solution. So we'll get that, at least give you an option. Because some of our schools have said, you know, I don't want to spend $15,000 more, but it's way easier for me to budget the 15 than 4 wind events where I have 150,000 deductible. You know, I can buy it down to 25. We can stomach that. So we'll look at it. You can decide if the dollars make sense or not. So once you get that to us, we'll get you that option as well. You good? Okay. Thanks, guys.
Let's see. Penny, did you have anything?
Not a thing.
You just came in late.
Hanging in the loop.
Okay. Chamber.
Guess I'll put it there.
Okay. I'm Cindy Brooks. I'm the Member Services with the Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce. And we have a summer program that we do. It's called the Youth Ambassador Program. And this is, I have a couple others, but we didn't get the memo either that was moved out here. Thank you. And so I don't know where they're at. They're somewhere in Hendon County driving around looking for the jail. So I apologize for that. But our Youth Ambassador Program is, we invite sophomore, juniors, and seniors from the local county schools. We have everybody represented except Nicetown this year. And we do things like we come here, we have a paper here that talks all about what commissioners do. Hopefully we'll make it to the council meeting this evening so they can have an idea of what goes on in our community. We'll be attending a city council meeting. They've gone to board meetings. They're helping with fundraising. We learned to write checks, address envelopes. We've done budgeting. They're learning. Next week we have a speaker, Cindy Kiner, the HR Connection, to go over their portfolios, their resumes, job interviewing, just different things that some of the schools do teach that, but this is more of a hands-on program that we do. So we're excited to have them here today to be able to share that and to share what the chamber, they're learning a lot about the chamber and how we help out in the community and help local businesses. They attended a ribbon cutting yesterday, a new business in town. So for the chamber, our golf outing is Monday. That's one of our, it's more of the more fun events that we are able to do. This year, some of the proceeds will go to our nonprofit of the year, which was the Kiwanis, for their shoe program. So we're going to be able to do that. from now on with our golf outing. Also, the next big event will be our Cash Bonanza. And is there anybody in here from the 80s? Because it's back to the 80s that night. This is a fundraiser for the chamber. It is a fun night to come out and have fun. It's a $100 ticket for enter two for supper, and you have a chance of winning $10,000. It's a fun night. So be looking for that. That's in September. Also, we have our women's networking that's coming up August 1st. This is a free event for members, and non-members is $10, but it is a nice time to be able to come out, women to network, get to know other business women. We have a really great time and a nice breakfast, and all that information is on our website. So any questions for us? Okay, Bewitch, I have seven ambassadors this year, and they will be out and about. So I'm learning about all of our county. So appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, let introduce yourselves. I'm sorry. Step up here.
My name's Lila Shu. I go to Newcastle, and next year I will be a junior.
And she's also our intern this year. So
My name is Peyton Morney. I go to Blue River Valley, and next year I will be a senior.
so perfect. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Do you have anything, Joe? Good. Next, we have Brown Owl, however you say it. Their inspection at the Work Release Center. They have the FDC is due every 5 years for hydrostatic testing. They recommend replacing 2 4-inch groove couplings during their testing for a total cost of $1,424. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve that repair. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And next up, we have Sheriff's Conference Room purchasing of tables and chairs for this room. Since we're having all of our meetings here for the next foreseeable future, I guess. I'm just trying to figure out where they're gonna put that many more tables and chairs in here.
It is hard to picture.
Yeah. It just seems like a lot of tables and chairs to try to squeeze in here.
Maybe closer together. But the two quotes, the cheapest one is the one they're requesting, which was a total of $9,181.51.
Okay,
And this would come from the jail lawn, right? That's the request.
that was their request. We do have money in there still, right?
I make a motion to approve.
I've got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next up, we have the active 911 quote for $5,239.80, which Brian says we always pay. I would like to shuffle that back to him.
It's always been yours.
So this has always been in the commissioner budget?
No, it's always
No.
been in art money. This is the first year it's been in, no, it was in commissioner's budget last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been paid out of art money most of the time.
Prior.
Is this the active 911 versus the guard nine? This is the active, not guard 911, the active 911.
I'm just trying to figure out what we do after we run out of art money.
But it's
I know.
gone. Now it's in.
You can't spend the art money. It
I
it has
know.
to come out of your budget now.
That's why I wanted Brian to pay it.
Gotcha.
So is there any interest in taking it into the 911 budget, or that's a council discussion, but yeah,
I mean, for now, we gotta pay it.
yeah, I make a motion to approve, but funding stream, curious. Okay.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next up, we have the Optimus flags. we have always in past done for 1 year. I would recommend that we do that again, but I'm open to whatever motion you guys want to make.
I'm in favor of it. I would make a motion to support the Optimist Club in Newcastle for flags.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve paying for 1 year for $200. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. Next up, Mr. Williams.
So we're here to talk about, upcoming project that we're working on, and, Shannon, has helped the Decatur County YMCA and, together, and she's been helping us on this project.
Would you like me to take this?
Sure.
Oh. I'm gonna throw it back to you. Really, you don't. Take one of these and take one. Well, good morning. Thank you so much for allowing us to have a few moments of your time. My name is Shannon McLeod, and I am a federal grant writer. So I'm sure you all met with Tina Mendenhall in the past. And so she and I have known each other for years. And there's just an awful lot going on in your county, you know, and I know that you all had submitted a grant application to Okra for the Expo building, and fingers crossed you get good news in August. Well, we simultaneously have been working on a project, and we were, last fall, we kind of talked about coming in front of you all, but we knew that the Expo building was in front of us. So we kind of held back, and we ended up going to the city council at Newcastle, and they agreed to sponsor us, but it was contingent upon a project that they had moving forward and getting under contract. Unfortunately, that did not occur. And so we've still been doing all this great work. And so right now we're playing a little bit of a jump hopscotch game. We're trying to have both windows of opportunity potentially available to us come the fall round. So we're not asking for anything this morning. We just wanted to get our project on your radar. And then if everything turns out great with the Expo building, and it could potentially be under construction contract by the time that fall cycle rolls around, that you would at least consider sponsoring our application if Newcastle isn't in a position. So I know it's a little confusing, but I told Chris, I said, well, I'd rather get in front of you sooner than later, just in case there's something else out there. Chris, Kelsey, why don't you just give them a little bit, there's a lot of information in there, quick snapshot, but tell them a little bit about the project so that they at least are aware of what we're trying to accomplish.
Sure. My name is Kelsey Smith. I'm the Director of Youth Development at the Henry County YMCA. So a few years ago, we started working a lot with the school and just talking about different needs that we saw in our community. And childcare was one of the major needs that we saw that we needed to improve on. Henry County is a childcare desert. What that means is that there are more children in need of childcare than there are childcare seats available. So we started thinking, like, how could we serve that need? The truth of the matter is that we outgrew our building in the day we built it, basically, our new building from downtown to where we're at now. Our goal is out of school care for children, school-age children, and then also just different programming options. So we started piloting a before school care program with the school. It's right now it's just a pilot program still. It's only available to 3 schools, 3 Newcastle schools, but eventually we'll open it up to the whole county when we have the space. The problem is right now we just don't have anywhere to put these kiddos. So our project that we're working on is an expansion of our facility, the main part being 4 additional classrooms, which we will use for before and after school care. Any out of school break time, so spring break, summer break, winter break, fall break camps, and programming for that. For example, like our day camp program this summer, we're in the thick of our day camp program. We have to cap that out at 40 kids, not because we don't have the programming or the staff, we just don't have the space. A lot of our camps space outside, but when the weather's bad, we have to have room for those kids to come inside, to eat lunch, to do all those things. And right now we just don't have the space to do that. We also don't have the space to separate them out in age groups like we would want to. We do the best we can with what we have to work with, but, so that's the main goal of this expansion. With the expansion though, it will open opportunities for, like 24-hour access to our, wellness center, expansion of our wellness center, and some other things, so. Any questions about like what the expansion's for or our goal? for the expansion?
I think the biggest thing is just, we continue to grow, which is great. We left the old YMCA at 1,300 members, we're over 5,000 now. And so, like I said, with all those kids coming in, things like that, it's a challenge, and it's a great challenge to have, so that's the reason we're looking at expansions.
So yes, the expansion project would double their capacity as far as your summer program from 40 to potentially 80 kids that they could be served, and then the before and the after school. So a lot of good things. I think this project, just as like many of the other ones that you've got going on here in the county, is a great project. But, you know, unfortunately, as I've listened this morning too, all these projects cost some money. And so in the event, we're estimating this project to be just under $2 million for this expansion. And the Y has got a capital campaign going on now. And then they've also talked with the Redevelopment Commission and the Food and Beverage. And so a lot of sources have come together to help get this going. But, you know, we really would like the opportunity to apply for a grant through the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs, OCRA, for $750,000, because that would be a nice chunk to help us. So what we're looking at for a fall round would be that the proposals are due October 24th, I believe. With that would be followed up with a full application that's due December 19th. From what I'm gathering, I've been doing grant writing and administration all over the state for 33 years. So Tina and I are about, you know, we started, I actually started a few years before her. So, but we've been doing it a long time, and we partnered together on the income survey that we completed for the county. So long story short, we just, from what I'm gathering from OCRA, is that they're planning on making the awards on the expo sometime middle of August. So in the event that that is awarded, she and I had spoken, and she said that you guys were really pretty motivated to get that thing under bid as soon as possible. So it would potentially be viable that come December 19th, that thing could be under construction. So that's why we just wanted to let you know that if you receive good news in August, that we probably will be back in front of you come September to ask for formal permission to potentially sponsor our grant application. Same process, you'd be the pass-through, but we need to wait until, you know, because I'm sure that in the event that that grant, for whatever reasons, unsuccessful, that you more than likely would like to reapply in the fall yourself. So that's why I'm working both angles with you and also the city. But again, we just wanted to get it out there in front of you so that you're aware. And if all goes well, I would expect that we'd be back in September, and I'd hope you'd consider. Do you have any questions for us in the time being? No. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for your time, and fingers crossed on your project, and hopefully we can get ours off and running it sometime next year.
Thank you.
community service at Club YMCA in East Illinois. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the Expo Service Funding Agreement through, actually I have two agreements with this. First one's from FBPH. Basically, this was from the Expo asking us to sign it for allowing them to be awarded. Joel, do you have any comments on that?
No, it's, I believe it's the engineering service that's gonna be required in connection with the proposed project to complete, and the Expo board is going to pay for that. Since the county's a signatory on the agreement, I wanted to create an agreement we call the service funding agreement between the county and the Expo that will deal with how those claims are gonna be paid.
So which that's the other agreement you have in front of you, the service funding agreement that Joel drafted for us to sign in conjunction with that. And we will send that to the Expo board for their signature.
So do we need to approve the agreement for professional services with FBPH and the service funding agreement?
Yes.
You would need to approve both.
So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve these agreements. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. Next up, we have the Animal Control Service Agreement, which is for payable in 12 monthly installments on or before the 10th day of each month, beginning January 1st, 2027. This is for $65,941. And then beginning January 1st of 2027, subject to approval of the Henry County Council, it's going to raise to $67,919. We've always paid this. I'm not sure what our finances are going to look like, so I guess we need to just, if we're going to approve it, it would be contingent on what the council decides. So that's up to the appetite of this board.
I did have one council member reach out and say that Newcastle City might be pulling their funding, and they were curious how that was gonna impact.
I have heard that too, and right now, no one has approached me officially saying that is the actual consensus, but I don't know whether we prove it contingent on both those things, on whether or not we can afford it if the city pulls out and whether that amount will change. So if we want to table or whatever your appetite is, that's up to you.
In this agreement, you guys realize that they have late fees applied if we don't pay it on
Yeah,
time.
that's
And we
what
don't
I
pay
saw.
late fees.
Okay,
But they do have, late fees. If we're 10 days late, it's $25, and 30 days late, it's $50.
so you're suggesting it should be removed because?
Yeah, because we
it should
don't
be
pay
removed.
late, we can't pay late fees, so.
Because there's still, and there's also a compensation of $10 per stray, not to exceed $2,500 per year. So we even get billed when they do pick up during the year, above what we pay to keep them operating.
I'm curious if the city doesn't contribute, what that changes as far as the services provided,
That I am unsure of at this point.
so.
That's why I said, if we want to table this and have Joel review it as far as removing those late fees.
Curious too, because there are towns in the county that don't contribute, that they refuse to go to. So even though you're paying for the county, they refuse to go to some of these towns. Norland might be one, I know there's several.
Oh, really?
Yes, we call them, they will not go. They don't pay them.
Okay.
So there may be some things to look into.
Maybe
And
we should
honestly,
just
the
review
list
the
of things
contract.
that they say they do, I guess, it had gotten better. I know I worked with Bobby and Joel a year or two ago. We call them a lot for things that are on their list, and they ask us, we don't do that. What do you do? So.
I'll say, I have
maybe
had
things
some,
work out.
there, I have been some
It got
just,
better for a while, but I've heard it's kind of gone the other direction a little bit again, yeah.
also I've had some disgruntled people call and complain, so, maybe we should table it for now and have Joel get with us and we maybe tweak this if that's amenable to you, Joel.
That's fine.
So moved.
I have a motion to table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made, second to table this agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. And the last thing on the itinerary is informational. Rain Tree Habitat for Humanity presents Raise the Roof, a charity gala to build homes and hope, July 25th, 2025, from 6 to 10 p.m. at Willow Acres. We'd like you to join them for an evening of celebration and generosity with dinner, live music, raffles, and live and silent auctions. And it's located at 7673 North Mechanicsburg Road in Middletown. So if anyone is interested, that's that information there. Anything from the public? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Quick question first. Were we supposed to talk about the vending machine at the park, or is that still
Nope.
being tabled?
I haven't heard
Okay,
anything
so-
from them,
okay.
so
right.
that's why it's not on the itinerary, because they did not contact us back about the changes they wanted on it, so I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
Still have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you, folks.